3, 2, 1. It's time for Dave TV. How y'all doing, everybody? It's Dave TV for the 29th. The 29th of, what is it? 29th of July 2013. It was 8 years ago today that I signed the papers to buy this condo that you see here. The DCRTV World headquarters here. That's right, June 29, 2005 is when I signed my life away. Anyhow, this is all our monitoring equipment here. As you can see, this is all our equipment. There's my bottle of water. There's our monitor where TV feeds come in from all over the world. And there's my laptop. And there's my satellite radio, where I can, for example, if I punch this button here, and then I turn on, okay, then it activates the on air, and then we can hear first wave. Anyhow, so there we go, and then of course everything else, whatever. So anyhow, what's the big news? I digress. What's the big news today? There's two big stories, but we'll start with the biggie one first. The bigger one is Sinclair. Sinclair's buying the entire, is that my zipper up? Yeah, good. Sinclair's buying the entire 8-station package of Allbritton stations. Okay, Joe Allbritton passed away last December. Now his son Robert runs the company. And of course, they own Channel 7 here in Washington, the ABC affiliate, and they own NewsChannel 8, and they own a bunch of stations in They own stations in Harrisburg, Lynchburg, Charleston, South Carolina, Little Rock, Arkansas, Tulsa, Oklahoma. They're all ABC affiliates. Well, the big deal was that everyone thought ABC wanted Channel 7. Because it's not a network-owned station. And I can't talk with music playing in the background. It drives me crazy. Everyone thought that ABC would buy Channel 7. And I think ABC did want Channel 7, but they didn't want the package of the other stations. Okay, and for some tax reason, Allbritton wanted to sell the entire package as one big piece. Okay, so it's basically you buy the whole thing or you get none of it. And so that basically took companies like Hearst and Tribune, which are also buying other stations at the time, whatever, and it took ABC out of it. ABC said probably, hey, we want 7, we love 7, but we don't want all these other stations. So here's Sinclair. I don't know where Sinclair gets their money. Okay, it's a company based in Hunt Valley, Maryland, up north of Baltimore there, and they own 150 TV stations around the country, and it's like a month doesn't go by where Sinclair isn't buying another pile of stations somewhere. Somewhere in the Northwest or somewhere. Mainly it's medium to small market stations that Sinclair owns. If you go to smaller markets like Richmond or, Columbus, Ohio, medium-sized markets, that's where you find Sinclair stations. You don't find them in big cities, big markets like LA, New York, and Boston, and even Washington. So by purchasing this cluster from Allbritton, Sinclair will now have probably, I think, its biggest market station that it's ever had, which is market number 8 in Washington. So that's going to be interesting. The question is, where's Sinclair getting all this money? I mean, from what I read, they're like $2 billion in debt already, or something like that, to buy all these other stations they've been buying every couple of weeks. And now they're going to be spending another billion-ish, almost $1 billion for Allbritton's cluster. And you just have to wonder, where are they getting the money or the credit? Here's a company, Tribune, the other day. They were in bankruptcy protection for more than a year. They come out of bankruptcy protection and they buy a whole bunch of stations. And Gannett is buying a whole bunch of stations. So I don't know. Where are they getting the money? It's a credit. Piles and piles of credit. I don't know. You kind of wonder, is it all going to collapse? Well, anyhow, so here's what it's going to look like in the Washington area. Sinclair will own Channel 7, ABC, and they'll own NewsChannel 8. What will they do with NewsChannel 8? I don't know. Some of my sources say they'll just shut it down. I don't think they will. I mean, it's a second. It's, you know, I would say just keep it running. But anyhow, in Baltimore, Sinclair owns Channel 45, Fox 45, WBFF. They operate Channel 54, that Cunningham. See, one thing that Sinclair does also, they're very good at, is leasing stations that are from independent companies that they kind of tend to control. So there's a company called Cunningham that is technically a separate company, but they tend to control it. So, and then there's My Network TV 24, WUTB up there in Baltimore. So basically, they own Fox 45, and then they run 54, and then they're going to soon be running 24. So they'll be having 3 stations in Baltimore alone. And they do this really complex kind of leasing deals in a lot of their cities where they'll own one station and then they'll operate another one and another one under a different name, and the companies are, it gets confusing, but that's what they do. And the FCC lets them get away with it. So what do you say? What do you know? But anyhow, it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Channel 7, whether they'll make any big changes there. But, a lot of folks were saying, hey, we would really like to see ABC own 7. So ABC owns the ABC stations in Philly and New York and, Chicago and LA and San Francisco. And they were saying, gee, wouldn't it be nice if they owned Washington too? Well, apparently not. So then the other big news of the day, Politico was out overnight, Sunday night, with a story that Cumulus is going to end its deal to continue carrying Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. Now, Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity are currently carried by a company called Premier, which is owned by Clear Channel, okay? And that's the syndicator. And then they make deals with local stations, and they have a deal with Cumulus. Now, Cumulus owns WMAL channel WMAL 105.9 630 AM here in Washington, okay? And they also own WABC in New York, and they also own Rush's stations in places like Dallas and San Francisco. I don't know if they still own I don't know if they own San Francisco. I think Rush is on it. No, they don't own them. For scratch San Francisco. But they do own a lot of stations that carry Rush. Okay, yeah, WLS in Chicago, for example. So anyhow, there we have it. Cumulus. That's where Rush Limbaugh is now. So if they drop Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity, where in the Washington market could he or they go? Well, they could go to Metro Radio, which owns a talker on 730 AM, 102.7 FM. Okay, that's the problem is 7:30 AM is a good signal daytime, but nighttime it kind of goes away. But again, both be good for Rush during the day, I guess. 102.9 is the smallest signal out of Northern Virginia. They could go to Salem's 1260, which again they have upgraded the signal, but it still isn't great in Northern Virginia. They could go out to 980. I'm thinking 980, which is now Dan Snyder's WTEM, that used to be owned by Clear Channel. Maybe Clear Channel could buy it again. Clear Channel, they do own the company that syndicates Rush Limbaugh, which is Premier. But here in Washington, they own only 5 music stations. WMZQ Country, Alt Rocker DC 101. They own Wash with Adult Contemporary. They own Hot 99.5 Contemporary Hit. And something else, Big. They own Classic Rock Big. I can't see Clear Channel dropping any of those 5 stations for talk, because I think they all do well. They all get good ratings. They all make money. They're all consistently somewhere in the top 10 almost every week. So it'd be crazy. So Clear Channel could buy an AMer. Buy back 980. Probably get it from Dan Snyder at a really good price. And then they could flip that to a news talk format and put Rush and Hannity on that. That makes the most amount of sense to me. Somebody else said maybe CBS could take 99.1, which is kind of a floundering all-news format, and put Rush and Sean Hannity in middays on that, keep the news format in the morning and the afternoon. I don't see them doing that. CBS doesn't do that. And if you look at their news talk, if you look at their talk stations around the country, their news stations around the country, they don't split them up with talkers like that. And I can't see them doing that here. They could, and even in markets where CBS does own news talkers like Philly, they've gotten rid of Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and moved them off to other stations. So I don't see that. I see the most likely possibility is probably Clear Channel making some deal with Dan Snyder, because we know 980 is up for sale. That Clear Channel would rebuy 980 with their 5 FMers and have 1 AMer, and then they would flip this to some sort of news talk format and put Rush and Hannity on it. That's what I would think would happen. And that would only be bad news for WMAL to have another station in the market going news talk like that with that, a major station with a good signal. The other, again, as I say, the other possibilities are Metro Radio in Salem. I think these are slimmer possibilities. I think this, the 980, is probably the most likely possibility. So there we go. Crazy day, huh? Crazy news day, but I like it. I like it busy like this. So anyhow, that's the big news today. All right, folks. Thanks for watching Dave TV for the 29th. For the 29th. See, I'm not wearing my boots today, too. I have my New Balances on. So I just came back from my walk. Thanks for watching Dave TV for the 29th of July, 2013. Book 'em, Dano. Oh, wait. Oh, my word. What am I doing here? Where's the off button?